I recently faced a dog owner's worst nightmare. You know what I mean? The kind that makes you question if you're still living in America or some kind of HOA-run dystopia. Because the president of our little suburban homeowners association sprayed my service dog right in the face. Yeah, you heard that right. Point blank, not a shred of hesitation, and then tried to have him labeled dangerous and put down. Her reason? She claimed he barked too much. The only thing truly getting tested that day wasn't my dog's temperament. It was my willpower not to let my anger burn the whole system down around her ears. Let me back up a sec. My name's Jack Dalton. Once upon a time, I worked with dogs who could sniff out bombs in the middle of a sandstorm. But these days I'm just a guy with Teddy, my golden retriever, who chases squirrels and, more importantly, keeps the noise in my head at bay. Teddy's my service dog, my anchor when things get loud inside. We earned our peace in this quiet little neighborhood. Or at least, I thought we had. But peace, in a place with lawns as neat as military barracks, comes with a rulebook, and the rulebook had a name: Karen Jordan. She ran the HOA like she was queen of the castle, defender of 2-inch grass, gatekeeper of mailbox paint. Any infraction, blades of grass too high, a garden gnome too cheerful, she'd swoop down with a violation letter faster than you could say community standards. This all started on one of those perfect mornings, the kind where the sun's just up, sprinklers are hissing in rhythm, and you forget for a minute that you're supposed to be on guard. Teddy and I were walking past Mrs. Gable's roses, minding our business, Teddy's leash in my left hand, coffee in my right, and the world felt still. Then a delivery truck backfired, just this sharp crack, and instantly, my body went tense, breath stuck in my chest, and Teddy let out one bark. Not aggressive, not wild. Just, "Hey, boss, I'm here, I got you." He pressed against my knee, grounding me, just like he was trained. But that bark, that single sound, might as well have been a siren. Karen's door flew open and she stormed out onto her front lawn, pink floral blouse, visor snapped tight, and a look that could curdle milk. "Jack Dalton," she snapped, and you could feel every neighbor peeking out their blinds. "You cannot control that animal." I told her, calm as I could, "He's a service dog, Karen." He was startled, but he's not a menace. Didn't matter. She wanted an audience, and she got one. "This is your final warning," she said, real theatrical. "This community has standards." Then, like the universe itself wanted to see what she'd do next, a police cruiser rolled up, Officer Miller and Officer Sanchez stepping out, just trying to get through another day. Karen, in her element, flagged them down and spun a tale about Teddy lunging at her, making him out like a wolf, not a retriever who'd rather chase tennis balls than trouble. The cops looked tired, not buying it, but not wanting paperwork either. "Ma'am, it's a dog on a leash." "He seems calm," Miller said. "Now," Karen screeched, "he needs to be put on the dangerous dog registry." And just like that, in the middle of the sidewalk, while all attention was elsewhere, Karen stepped forward, canister in hand. Looked like hairspray at first. She sprayed Teddy right in the eyes. I'll never forget the yelp he let out, the pure panic as he pawed at his face, the smell. Chemical, sharp, bitter. Not pepper spray, but definitely not harmless, no matter what Karen shrieked to the officers. My blood ran cold. Sanchez pressed a saline bottle into my hand, and I flushed Teddy's eyes, heart hammering. "She just assaulted my service dog," I said, documenting everything. The officers took the canister, logged it as evidence, but the whole thing felt like a shrug. "Let animal control handle it," they said. "We'll forward the report." Karen strutted back to her house. Teddy limped home beside me, shaking, confused, eyes red and streaming. That's when I realized this wasn't about noise or barking. It was about control. The battle lines were drawn. The next morning, a white van rolled up, animal control. Officer Ruiz at my door, clipboard in hand, tired eyes. "We've received a report. Your dog bit a child yesterday." The words hit like a sucker punch. There was no child. Just me, Teddy, Karen, and 2 police officers. But in Karen's world, facts were optional. Ruiz wouldn't look at me. A bite on a child, by law, means quarantine. Shelter, unless you qualify for at-home quarantine. I pushed. Teddy's a service dog, fully vaccinated, well-trained. Ruiz relented. Home quarantine. But Teddy couldn't leave the property. And a big orange, dangerous animal sign on my front door, branding my house for all to see. And then came the kicker. A formal hearing will determine if your dog is to be put down. And, just like that, Karen's real goal was laid bare. I had 24 hours to gather evidence, to save Teddy's life from a lie. That night, under cover of darkness, 2 of Karen's bored lackeys taped emergency flyers to my door and others, phony ordinances, effective immediately. I filmed them, added it to my growing pile of evidence. The next day was a scramble, door to door, neighbor to neighbor, searching for video footage, eyewitnesses. Most were too scared of Karen, worried about fines or their own little rule infractions. Mrs. Gable, who saw everything, wrung her hands, worried about her garden shed not being to code. Duke, the neighbor across from Karen, lied about his camera being broken, all for a favor in return. You could see how fear worked here. Quiet compliance, trading decency for comfort. Out of options, I went to animal control, dropped off every bit of evidence I had, begged the supervisor to hold off on any emergency orders. She looked at me, not unsympathetic. If you can get more evidence, anything credible, do it before midnight. I needed a miracle. So I called my best friend, Marcus, a tech whiz from my old service days. Can you find anything on Karen? He got to work, fast. Within half an hour, he'd hacked into the HOA server. Don't ask for details, but let's just say Meadows 123 isn't exactly Fort Knox. He found emails, Karen plotting with her assistant, Sarah, to fabricate the bite report, pressuring her to sign, calling Teddy a legal liability. We'll say the child is a visitor to avoid records. I want that animal gone by the end of the week. The emails were a bombshell, but illegal evidence only goes so far. The weak link was Sarah, the coerced assistant. If she flipped, the whole house of cards would come down. That afternoon, I spotted her at Karen's, walking her own dog, a little white fluff ball named Alfie. By a stroke of luck, or fate, Alfie bolted into the street just as a delivery van came barreling down. I vaulted my fence, scooped up Alfie, and handed him back, heart still thumping. Sarah, rattled and teary, asked, "Why would you do that after what I did?" I just told her, it's not the dog's fault. And maybe not yours, either. She broke, told me the truth, everything Karen made her do. I offered her a choice. Live in fear or help set things right. We had a plan. The HOA was holding an emergency meeting that night, ostensibly to discuss community safety, really to rubber stamp my exile and Teddy's death sentence. Sarah would speak, under oath, affidavit in hand. Marcus and his buddy Marty, who, I kid you not, showed up with enough tech gear to launch a satellite, set up a live stream. Local media and animal rights groups invited to watch. The clubhouse was packed. Karen, cool and smug at the head of the table, 2 bored cronies beside her, police by the door. She launched into her speech. Dangerous dog, anonymous child, community in peril. I stood up, cool as I could manage. Who is this child? Where's the police report? Hospital records? Or is this just a story? The room went quiet. Karen doubled down. Anonymous, out of fear of retaliation. That's when Sarah stood up and told the truth. No child, no bite. Karen ordered the report, threatened her job. Sarah handed over her notarized affidavit and said she'd already sent copies to animal control and the DA. Marcus piped up from the back, announcing the whole meeting was being live-streamed. Hundreds of people watching, including reporters. Karen froze, panic taking over. She tried to run, but Mrs. Gable blocked the aisle, giving Karen a taste of her own medicine. The room turned, the fear in the air replaced by anger. Righteous, pent up, overdue. The fallout was immediate. News vans swarmed the neighborhood. The court of public opinion hammered Karen before the legal system even started. Animal control dropped the case, lifted Teddy's quarantine. The HOA board was recalled, new members elected. A law firm offered to represent me pro bono. We sued Karen and the old board. Emails and affidavits piled high in court. No amount of spin could save her. The judge, sharp, no nonsense, ruled for me on every count, blasted Karen for malicious prosecution, and referred her for criminal charges. Karen lost her house, her reputation, everything. The board members resigned in disgrace. The new board made a formal apology, paid damages, and donated to a veteran service dog group in Teddy's name. The street started to heal. Sarah got a new job, became something of a hero for standing up. Even Duke, stubborn old coot, brought over cookies, mumbling an apology. But the best part? The town council held a meeting, not just to say sorry, but to celebrate. They put up a new sign in the park, Teddy's Park. The mayor hung a medal around Teddy's neck, the community finally recognizing what mattered: loyalty, courage, standing up when it counts. We sat there that night, Teddy and I, just listening to the wind, quiet finally earned, not enforced. So, let me ask you, how far would you go to defend what's right? To stand up when it matters, even when everyone else is too scared? That's the real story here. Because sometimes it only takes one good dog and one stubborn owner to remind a neighborhood what courage looks like. If you've got a thought, a story, or a strong opinion about right and wrong, or how power gets twisted in the wrong hands, drop it in the comments. Let's talk about justice, about community, about fighting back. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Who's the real villain here? And how far is too far when you're protecting your own?